All right, so hope everybody had a good Christmas. This Christmas Eve morning, I have just spent the morning out here cleaning up because it was a freaking train wreck out here. I'm gonna show you one thing on the suspension real fast. I don't plan to work a lot Christmas Eve at all. Mike said he was gonna come over and we were gonna figure out the anti-dive and maybe the tabs for the front end. Christmas Day, I don't think I'm gonna work at all. And then we'll hit the ground running after Christmas Day.
Do you want me to put this in or you?
Me.
Okay.
I'll be careful.
I'll help you.
Okay. Put it in. You gotta.
Well, we are on our Cummins this morning, and I was going to drop the motor roll out of it. And well, that's what it looks like. Water come out first, and then this mess of motor roll. Now I know this guy had this thing sitting in his shop for 10 years. I think he said that he had this engine sitting up. I plan a full rebuild on this engine, 100% full rebuild all the way to the block, bare heads. So thankfully that was already in my plans because that stuff looks disgusting. Wow. So I guess it might be fortunate. I took out that one in the side and it's not coming out the side. So it's probably just gonna be bottom of the pan right there. Well, it's settled over all these years. When I transported this thing, it did flip over in the back of my truck. It's when we had the F450. It flipped over on its side and pure black motor oil was just running all out of it. Like I think the whole motor pretty much drained itself, all its motor oil in the bed of my truck going down the road. So it's not like the whole engine was completely full of sludge. It definitely had a ton of black motor oil in it, but. The bolt. Oh man. Oh, she's yuck. That's nasty. Well, it's just all in the pan. I'm gonna take this pan outside and clean it up. That is nasty. So it looks like that is just all on the pickup tube, the bottom of the engine. Looks good from here. Now I gotta take the pickup tube off, I think, to turn it around. That's the old dipstick. That is some nasty stuff. I don't know if that's condensation of water in there or if that's fuel. I don't know. My whole goal for right now is to just get this nastiness out of there, just so that it's clean. And let's flip this oil pan around. I want the suspension done because I want to be able to put the motor in. In order to build the engine mounts, I need to be able to put the starter in. In order to put the starter in, we have to fix this block down here where it's hitting, and I'm gonna show you how this starter, everything goes together here in a second. So that's kind of what I paused on to start working on, because I figured, what the heck, I'm waiting on Mike anyway, and I need to have the starter in to build the engine mounts. So no point in sitting around, right? I guess. Let's put this plate back on though. Actually, let me show you what I've cut, and then we'll put the plate back on and see if we have enough clearance. So on this block, this right here was sticking out to about right here. I didn't film it beforehand. It was a little it sticks out like that, okay? It doesn't have that big square back there, but it sticks out exactly like that. You can see the washer hole, and then you can see the washer hole in this one. So I have cut off, as you can see, that little nib, and I've kept the amount around it that the head of the bolt hit, basically. So I think I might have it now. We can start taking some out of this little spacer. However, I was gonna notch the spacer, but then I double checked it, and the spacer is actually the same size as the starter. So on this adapter plate for this Cummins, you have to use a 6.4 diesel starter. And it goes on like that, all right? But if we look at this, we line the bolt holes up, the starter is basically the same size as the adapter plate. Now you could cut some off of that starter, probably the edge right there. I really don't want to, because I'm going to send the starter back to the store. I'm just using it for mock-up. But when I get one in, the actual one, if I have to trim it, I guess I can. I just really don't want, I just kind of want to be able to just shoot a starter straight in, and not every single time you go to replace a starter or something, you have to grind it down, because then that could run into issues where some store could possibly reject your return because the starter has been grinded on. So you kind of have to think about that stuff. You know, it's not like it's hard to modify the starter, but how about if you hurt yourself in the long run on any failed starter that's under warranty? So our adapter piece is very close to go in. You can actually see, you can see the imprint on the plate where I had this bolted on with what exactly we took off. See if I can get underneath it straight down, so you can kind of see the amount that we've took off. I really don't want to take no more off of the block. I guess I'm gonna start grinding on the adapter piece. You can see that top pin. Oh, top pin goes in right there, straight. Oh, maybe it will go in actually if I turn it straight. Let me try to tap that in real fast. We actually might have it. I thought that we needed to grind a little bit more, but man, that looks really close. Maybe I'll let me clearance this out just a little bit before I start tapping that in. Right there where it hits on that line, I'm gonna just clearance it just a little. All right, so I've got the pins in, but this is still touching. So I'm gonna clearance a little bit more, because basically I want that where it doesn't touch. I mean, you could hammer this on right now and it might go on, but if this shifts this way ever so slightly, that could put our angle of our starter wrong, and that could lead to the starter messing up, the teeth, the flex plate messing up, you know, and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just gonna grind a little bit more out of this adapter real fast. Nice easy taps, and that went right on. And I can even see on the inside here, it's nice and smooth. Everything's nice and smooth. The pins line up good, so we should be good to go. The engine mounts that we're gonna use originally, let's see here. Okay, so they were using these right here. We're going to switch to the mid mount, which is these right here. The starter's right here, so it's very, very much so in the way. So we're probably gonna have to build some kind of engine mount that goes around the starter. That's why we're working on mocking the starter up this morning. Need to go ahead and get that off too. In your kit, it's going to provide the bolts. There's going to be a little bag that has these bolts. Pretty sure that Allen head is the bolt that you're going to need for right here. They cut all these big, but this one's small, so because of how close it is to that. So you're going to need the Allen head for there, I'm pretty sure. But the big bolt in there is for the bottom of the starter. Two little ones is for that. The instructions show, actually it shows the exact same thing that I just did. That's funny. I didn't even read the instructions. So they want that same place cut off that I showed you. So there's a good example of it. And then let's see here. Where's C at? Showing number C. Looks like they want from the starter flange. So they want approximately a quarter cut from the starter flange right there. All right. And that's going to be for clearance also. But we are trying not to do that. Let's see here. This adapter kit utilizes 03 to 06 Ford 6.0 Power Stroke starter. And then it talks about the 6.4 starter. Power Stroke does not extend beyond the starter gear and does not require additional clearance in the bell housing, making this starter an excellent choice for the application. Some GM bell housings may require grinding to clear a starter. So looks like you can use either one. I have the 6.4 one. It says making this starter an excellent choice. So I have the 6.4 one. Modifications of engine, block, pan rail, and Ford starter may be necessary in some applications. So it talks about the clearancing right there. Installing the flex plate. It's all instructions. I just guessed on it. Let's put this starter in though. Let me run this one bolt up, and then I'm gonna show you what room we're gonna have to work with for this engine mount. So there's what it looks like, all bolted up. You can see that puts that right there. This piece I'm not sure, so ignore that. I have not looked into if that needs to come off yet. That was on the engine when I bought it with the old bell housing. It appears that that's going to need to come off, but again, I have no clue right now on that. I have not even looked into what's required. Back needs to be pulled up just a touch, but it will pull up whenever we put the bolt in it. It is not touching on anything at all, as you can see. So I did not need to modify the starter. Meaning if you have a warranty issue, you'll be able to take your starter right out and take it to the parts store and not have to worry about them turning down your claim because you grinded on the freaking starter. The engine mount. So it's gonna have a mount back there. There's the bolt hole, it's full of mud. There's a bolt hole, there's a bolt hole, and the other bolt hole is back there like that. If you're utilizing the factory drain tube, be a little tight, but it looks like you can get it. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, the hose is on the inside. You'll be able to get it in there. You might have to take this hose, flex hose off right here to get that in. I'm not 100% sure, or use a wrench. We will not be utilizing that factory tube. We'll be putting the turbo somewhere else. That thing's ugly as all get out. So we'll probably be welding an AN fitting to this or something. We'll probably honestly turn it like that. It's gonna need a new O-ring. So that's my plan right there. Turn it up, weld an AN into the end of that, or see if I can get an AN piece for the block or something, and that way it just is cleaner. So that's what room we have, which is, it's not terrible. So hopefully that helps somebody if you're trying to put a starter or trying to run this adapter plate. And this spacer piece right here does come with this adapter plate when you purchase it. The only thing that don't come with it is a starter, so you have to buy your starter separate. All right, so while I'm waiting for this front end, I'm trying to move on, even though it's hard. I really don't want to get involved back in here, because as soon as I get involved into something, then I'm not going to want to go back to that. I'm going to want to finish what I'm working on. I don't like jumping around. But we are fitting up the tanks right now. So this is where they have to go, or this is where I had intended them to go the whole time. Let's see here. Really, they should be flipped over with this port right here on the bottom for a water drain. However, we are currently sitting on these crossbars down here, which are bolted to the bottom of the frame, or clamped to the bottom of the frame, which simulate ground height. So when it's completely laid out, we can't go no lower than that orange tape right there. That orange tape is the dirt, is the ground. So we have to have the tank above that. When they built these mounts on this, the tanks are a little wider than the mounts. I don't know if you can see that, but the mount is not mounted in the center, it's mounted down some. So the tanks are fatter than the mounts. The mounts are the exact size of the frame rail, pretty much. So it works out perfect for mounting, but you really got to put some thought into it, because you don't want, obviously, it to hit anything when it's laid out. So I've been sitting here thinking about forward and backwards where they're going to go, and there's a couple things that you want to consider. First off, enough clearance up here. So I've got just a scrap fitting. I don't have the exact fittings, but a scrap fitting with a 90. Let's see here, scrap fitting with a 90, and we still got room on the other side of it. So that should be plenty. The fitting should screw in more than that, but that should allow us plenty of room to change the fitting out without taking the tank down if we want. And that's just kind of to just set my spacing. We'll have to weld in another port in the very bottom corner down here, basically like right here, but on the bottom in a 45 for the water drain. And then you could just take the airbag system or jack the front of the vehicle up, or if you're on a hill or whatever, and it'll all just drain right out the back. I'm thinking, I don't think that the air compressors will fit here. So we've got this frame mount here. I don't think the air compressors will fit here, but if they will, we may put the air compressors here. And that's the reason why I slid the tank all the way forward as I could up there, because I want to make sure that I buy myself as much room as possible in this setup. But if we can't fit the compressors here, then we'll maybe do the water collectors here or something. And I'm thinking when we fab this, our seat tracks should come about right here. Thinking somewhere in here. Can't remember 100% where they were. Somewhere in here. So I think we'll have the carpet where it lifts up, because I'm imagining we'll have some kind of rug style looking carpet, you know, so it looks period correct with the stitching around the edge or so. And, or if not, we'll figure something out on the upholstery side. But underneath the carpet, where the carpet lifts up, there will be a trap door here that bolts down that we'll be able to access this backside right here. So if we put water collectors or anything here, or the air drain or anything, I want it where it's pretty easy. Just pick the carpet up, undo that, maybe even Zeus it. Honestly, that's not a bad idea at all. Is put some Zeus's in there with the sheet metal so we can just pick it up and have it where we can get into there. We could honestly use a deck lid. My piece is closed up. I've got one of them on race cars where the little metal door that Zeus is on and opens up to put the fuel in on a drag car. We could get 2 of them, and then all the work would be done for us as far as the Zeus locations and everything, and put them there under the carpet so that this will open up to easily access the backside. And we'll try to keep all of our air fittings here. I don't know what we're going to necessarily need on this. I'm thinking it will be a line in and a line out, obviously, so probably could hit them both on that side. And then I don't know if your tanks need anything else by a water drain. We could put a water drain on this side also. And then I'm guessing you could pull the air pressure of the tanks off of somewhere else, or there might be enough room right here to get a very tight 90 in here and pull the line down that way to get the air pressure off of it if we have to actually read the tanks. So we shouldn't even need that side, but we might use that side anyway, depending on the setup. I want to make sure that I've got clearance to do anything that I want to do. The floor rails will come across here, and this rail like that, how it sits up, it goes the other way, just like them. And it also gets rubber spacing on it. That's the reason why it's not sitting down 100% on the level right now. But that's floor right there. So we've got plenty of height on that right there. Let's see here, the rail itself though, it's probably gonna hit. Man, it's gonna be close. Let's see here. I'll slide this over that to simulate the bottom. So we're gonna simulate the bottom of this. Hold on, yeah. That's gonna be, it'll be close. So if we do put a cross member coming through here, if it's gonna go right here on that, then we might have to drill a circle in this for clearance. But if it goes to the side of it, like that, if we put our cross member to the side of it, then you can see we've just barely got enough room to snake by. So that is like max, not a 1/4 of an inch, not an 1/8 of an inch, not even a 16th really to spare at all. We're just going to use these 90s right here that I bought a bunch of them on the Comet. I bought like 50 of these, I think. It's amazing to buy a tab in the bulk. Piece of advice, if you're going to buy tabs, buy them in bulk. We're just going to put them like that. I'm going to tack them on, and then we'll through bolt the brackets here. I was originally going to nutsert the frame and bolt it in like that, but I was like, why do that? That's a lot of work for drilling, putting nutserts in. If the nutsert starts to spin, you can't get to the back side of it. Dude, screw that. We're just going to weld these tabs on top and bottom and through bolt it. Just like that, we should be good to go. So I think that's how we're going to do the tanks. I guess I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces tacked in on both sides, mark locations, drill the tanks, maybe put some temporary bolts through the top, just so I have them there in place for reference. And that will be one more thing off my to-do list, at least, is mounting the tanks. What did your Furby say?
I'm so sweet.
You're so sweet. All right, Harper's hanging out here. Look at this. She got her first tool bag. First tool bag for Christmas from Santa. All right, so we got these mounted up. I think that looks good. I think that's going to be perfect. These are just tanks off eBay, just regular, no name brand tanks just from a company. There's millions, or not millions. there's like a couple of hundred tanks available on eBay. So you just get on there, type in air ride suspension tank or air ride tank, air compressor tank or whatever, and just browse through and look at the measurements and see something that about fits your size. But I got these for a steal. I put the price right here across the bottom of the screen, but for what Mike was going to build them, well, Mike wasn't going to charge me to build them. Let's make that clear. But the material to buy the end caps right here, plus to do that, we were going to build them out of steel, so they were super heavy duty. But to build that pipe, plus that, plus some mounts, by the time you got that large of a diameter of pipe sent to your door, plus 4 end caps, dude, you would have been more money. And that was with me not paying him anything, which I would have paid him something. Plus the bungs, you'd been more money on building them yourself. And the steel will rust on the inside. Aluminum is nicer, steel is stronger, but these are solid.